because now there's so much knowledge and information out there. You don't need to go to a traditional school and get a traditional degree to acquire the knowledge that you need to apply it to your life immediately. So I enrolled in a course that cost close to $10,000 just to gain this business knowledge, and then applied it to my business. And it took about a year to like understand it, consume it, and then apply the changes, and actually see the results. So that was probably my biggest challenge in business, was learning how to run a business with no academic acumen. I have 3 versions of every book that I'm reading. So I have my paperback, I have it on my Kindle, and I have the audio version. So I can really seamlessly kind of pick up where I am, and I always stop at a chapter so it doesn't get confusing. So if
every book, no matter which decade that it was written in, there's so many pieces and nuggets that we can pull from that and then immediately implement into our lives.
So at this point in my life right now, even though I don't have that ideal morning routine that I would love, I try to compensate that to have a nighttime self-care routine. And for me, that means after he's in bed, after I've had dinner, spend time with my husband, I take about an hour in bed to read. I make sure I read. I pull out my planner and I plan the next day, so I know what are my key things, and I focus on my needle moving tasks. So my one thing that I have to get done tomorrow to move the needle for my business for progress, I just make sure I have that focus item before I start my day. And then I have like a little packet of my skincare stuff that obviously, as moms, sometimes we tend to neglect. But if I know that I'm in bed and I'm doing my self-care routine, I can just read and kind of be rubbing stuff on my face as I go. So that's what I do for myself as a nighttime routine. But hopefully my goal is to one day have a morning routine too. Yeah, maybe I'm so glad that you mentioned EQ here, because we have to realize that the way people behave has really nothing to do with us. It's all about them and their experience. So if someone's being not nice to you, or they're not reacting in a way that you want them to, or they're not receptive of what you're saying, it really has nothing to do with you. It's because, like you said, they need a nap, they're hungry, they had a bad day. So really try to be more accepting of that. And I used to be super, super ashamed of my failures. And they're failures that I defined to be failures because of my cultural expectations, my societal expectations. Where I come from in my community, it's you have these options, career options. And if you're not in those career options, you're basically worthless or you're a failure. And I labeled myself as that for many, many years. And it took me a while to embrace that failure and call it success, which is what I'm doing now. And I talk about this a lot. You'll see in my social media, and I'm very open to talk about failures because that's how we rise. And it's very, society just likes to highlight like, your revenue and your successes, but no one talks about all the shit you had to go through to get there and the number of times you had to fail and fall. In fact, it's obligatory. You have to fail in order to reach that next level of success.
Rephrasing, turning those failures or mistakes, learning lessons, growth edges, that's actually now one of our biggest strengths that we can then turn around and send the elevator back down, especially to other women that are going through something similar.
If you didn't share that struggle that you went through, then how would you know, or how would anyone else know that it's okay and you've made it? Because there's going to be a period of your business, hopefully that's the goal, is when you have growth, and you have tremendous growth, and sometimes the growth is too fast for you to keep up with. That's when those systems and documentation is going to come into clutch. And if you're going through that and you haven't created it from the start, you're going to fall on your face flat because you won't have the capacity to create it later, because you're